A client of mine from California was walking and got hit by a car in Florida, and his own medical payments coverage on his California auto insurance policy paid for, I think it was $5,000 of his medical bills. That was the limits, even though he was hit by a car and he wasn't in his own car. The pedestrian's medical payments coverage or personal injury protection coverage pays regardless of fault. So even if the pedestrian was 100% at fault, their personal injury protection insurance or med pay coverage should pay for their medical bill. And typically, if you're a pedestrian hit by a car, the police officer is going to draw a diagram of the crash. Now, when the crash happens, they're likely going to give you just a driver exchange of information. That is not the full-blown crash report. That is just the preliminary information so each driver or pedestrian knows who the other person's insurance is. Typically, if the car is listed as vehicle 1 in the driver exchange information, that means the officer believes that car was at fault. Now, an ambulance took Doug to the hospital and that increased the value of his case. There, he was diagnosed with a lower leg fracture. Specifically, he had a fibula fracture. That is the thinner of the two lower leg bones. Now, Doug did not have surgery. If he would have had surgery to his fibula, his lower leg bone, that would have significantly increased the value of the case. It's not uncommon for surgery to increase the case value by 2 to 3 times. Now, because Doug was from out of state, California, and he was injured in Florida, and he did not have the equivalent of $10,000 of PIP, he did not need a permanent injury in order to get money for pain and suffering. And I argued this to the at-fault car's insurance company, who was GEICO. Doug had medical payments coverage on his own car and they paid his medical bills. But one of the very nice things about having an attorney in the state of Florida where I practice is if you have an attorney, they have to reduce their claim to get paid back by your attorney's fees and costs and any other equitable factors. Other equitable factors, that just is a fancy word for saying fair factors. Now, equitable factors are if the other driver doesn't have enough insurance coverage or if you are partially at fault. Now, GEICO currently is an average insurance company. They've gotten slightly better. However, they typically, from my 17 years of practicing, I've seen them go from being pretty good to pretty bad to average. Now, GEICO may get very bad again. We'll see what happens through time. And to show you that GEICO is just an average insurance company, even though they had records that my client had a broken lower leg and he had back pain as well, their opening offer was only $14,700. GEICO loves to lowball and give a very low opening offer. Now, I ultimately settled this case with GEICO for $65,000, but to show you how GEICO is just an average insurance company in pedestrian accident cases, if we would have had the exact same accident and the driver of the car would have been insured with Nationwide, Hartford, even Travelers or USAA, their opening offer would have likely been a lot more than $14,700. They probably would have opened up with an offer of $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 as their first offer, or maybe even higher. Watch these videos here so you can learn how to get the largest settlement in the shortest amount of time possible.